right, good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm very excited to introduce our next speaker. This is Kristen Coffield, and she is an author, educator, and culinary disruptor. I love that word. She teaches purpose-driven women to harness the power of food to build the bodies they want and deserve. As the founder of theculinarycure.com, she simplifies health into doable daily habits that hold the key to enhance wellness, disease prevention, and contribute to living younger, longer, and better. She helps her clients create intentional culinary habits that turn into the superpowers for us busy women. Kristen is the author of How Healthy People Eat, an Eater's Guide to Healthy Habits. Love it. Her entry-level coaching program is the 21-day detox and reset that begins September 13th. Kristen also accepts motivated women for private coaching programs. And yeah, Kristen, you have the floor. Welcome.
Oh my gosh,
Kristen.
I am so excited to be here today. And, a little bit about me. I have a long background in food. So for many years, I had a catering company in Washington, D.C. And when I started my own family, I really turned towards food as medicine. Once you start feeding little humans, you think about everything that affects their environment. And like many women, my life was just fine until it wasn't. So life can be a complicated sport for us. We are constantly finding ourselves being all things to all people. We are trying to build families and brands and communities and businesses, and that very often doesn't leave a lot of time for us. So we've got to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first so we can help others. So the Culinary Cure was born out of my catering company in good taste. And my mom had breast cancer. My father had Alzheimer's. I'm a thyroid cancer survivor. So, guess what? Life doesn't always turn out how we think it's going to turn out. It gets complicated and messy. And, we are forced to pivot and pivot and pivot again. And so I turned towards food as medicine to support me and my family on these journeys, some which ended well, and, some which just ended. I lost my mom to breast cancer. I lost my dad to Alzheimer's. I survived my thyroid cancer. And, when life gets tough, sometimes, marriages are impacted. So I've repurposed my husband. And what I learned through all of this is we can't control everything. So here we are, here I am, the luckiest girl in the world who suddenly wakes up one day and realizes, oh my God, what happened? How did my big world go from here to here? And now I'm out of rope and I'm in my 50s and nobody's written the playbook for how you kind of like reboot your life when, excuse my French, when the shit hits the fan. And it doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time. So very often we don't even see it coming. So I pivoted in that moment when I woke up and I'm out of rope and I can't control all of this craziness in my life. And I realized there was one thing that I could control. I could control what was on the end of my fork. So in that moment, I let go of all this other stuff I couldn't control, and I focused on what I could control. I started changing how I ate. And this is the part I love because I think my story is a little bit of every woman's story. And when we're busy being all things to all people and not fully understanding that self-care is essential care, we're constantly taking from ourselves to give to others. And so when I got to that place, I had to really look at my habits, which I have to say, I thought my habits were pretty good. but I was drinking a couple of cups of coffee in the morning and then maybe grabbing a bagel or a sandwich. And I was pretty stressed out and I wasn't sleeping well. So, maybe a glass of wine at 5, which could turn into 2, which could kind of just lead to cheese and crackers. And then you're not really hungry for dinner. And so I looked at those habits and I was like, this is not serving me. So in that moment, I got rid of everything that didn't serve me in my diet, the refined carbs, the added sugars, the too much caffeine, the alcohol 7 days a week. And I went to a largely plant-based diet. I still eat meat. I eat everything. You don't have to give up the joy of food to pivot and make food your friend. So in that moment, there I am, and I'm switching to this healthier diet. I'm drinking more water. And guess what? I am still lying in my bed at 3 a.m., just ruminating. I cannot, my brain is like a filing cabinet that flew open. All this stuff is coming out and I can't get it back in. And I'm lying in my bed. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the gym at 5 a.m. I can lie here or I can get up and go to the gym. So I start getting up, I'm going to the gym. Now I'm eating different. I'm working out. I'm getting all those feel-good hormones and everything changes. Everything changes. My energy changes. And now I'm putting out different energy in the world. My body's changing. My brain's changing. Stress is amplified by our food habits. So if we have bad food habits and we're under stress, it makes everything worse. Sleep is affected by our food habits and our hydration habits and our caffeine habits and our alcohol habits. So when I started getting control of those, I started sleeping better. And once we work out and we get these good hormones and we start changing our muscle composition of our bodies, we start burning more calories, we start having more energy. And guess what? We start feeling like we can handle whatever life has to bring us. So that's where the culinary cure came from. I built a brand around my own personal experience, which is a little bit of every woman's experience. And I understand how confusing, there's wellness overwhelm. We are assaulted with wellness information from all kinds of sources. And it's hard. The hardest part is always getting started. So I meet women at the intersection of lifestyle and wellness because diets don't work. Anybody who's ever been on a diet, raise your hand. Have you ever been on a diet? They don't work. You lose the weight, then you gain the weight back, and then you gain some. And diets aren't fun. And when you're on the diet, you're that girl who's going out to eat and you're like, oh, I can't eat that. Or, it's so restrictive. So what I do is by meeting people where they are, I can take their habits. So habits are anywhere from 43% on up of what we do every day. Mindless repetition. We don't think, we just do. So I take the things women are already doing and I teach them how to do them better. It's just not complicated or hard or expensive. And once you know how to do it, you can go anywhere and navigate any situation. And what I said before about it didn't happen overnight, it happened over time, that's true for all of us. If we don't like something about our health and wellness, it didn't happen overnight, it happened over time. So we have to give ourselves some grace. We have to start where we are. And I have a favorite habit. Dee Dee knows what I'm going to say.
I'm excited.
I can't cheat. So go ahead, Kristen.
So my favorite habit is this. I call hydration the low-hanging fruit of wellness. When we get the hydration part right, everything else falls into place, right? Yay, got our water. So water is tricky. And I want to give everybody, because this is a summit where people want takeaways. So I'm going to give everybody 3 takeaways, 3 things that they can start doing today, right now, that will change their lives forever, that will help them get closer to creating that ultimate wellness goal, which is culinary resilience. And that means we support our bodies in a way that allows our bodies to support us. So if we do get sick, or if we do have to go to the hospital, or if something happens, we've done everything right so our body can support us in the healing process. Whether that means you get COVID, or you break an arm, or you get thyroid cancer. What the goal is to create this culinary resilience like a superpower. So food, in its most basic form, is calories. And if you remember from high school science, calories are energy. But where the disconnect happens is between food and the calories. It's the type of fuel or food we put in our bodies that creates the output. So food is fuel, because food is calories and calories are fuel. But what type of fuel are we putting in our engine? So if we eat an apple, the calories might be the same as the calories in a bagel, but the apple is chemically coded to tell our body to do certain things. The body knows how to break down the apple, take those micro macronutrients, those phytochemicals, and send them to where they need to go so our body can use them. When we eat things the body's not wired to eat, the body doesn't do so good. It creates this low-level inflammation. Low-level inflammation is linked to every disease you never want to have. And it's also linked to that stubborn weight that we can't get rid of, that 5 pounds, that belly bloat. So the low-hanging fruit of wellness is hydration, because when we are properly hydrated, it helps us make better decisions. So if we're even a little bit dehydrated, now the brain is 75% water, so are our muscles. So our body mass is somewhere between 60 and 80% water. So if we're even a tiny bit dehydrated, it affects our ability to make good decisions. That's business decisions. It's how we respond to people who piss us off decisions. And it's what we eat and drink decisions. So if we're even a little dehydrated, the body can't tell if it's hungry or thirsty. So and here we are these busy, purpose-driven women. We are being all things to all people. We are building businesses. We've got everybody's master calendar in our brain. And it is really hard to stay on top of hydration. So we're putting ourselves at a disadvantage if we're even a little bit dehydrated. And now our body's like signaling us, hey, lady, you need something. And maybe it's signaling us that we need a bagel or chips or a piece of chocolate, something that is a craving. But if we're properly hydrated, that signaling changes. We're more able to determine if we're hungry or thirsty, and we shouldn't be thirsty if we're properly hydrated. We're more able to eat appropriate foods and appropriate amounts of foods. And we're functioning at a higher level because now our brain is optimized with hydration. So hydration's the low-hanging fruit of wellness, and this is how we get hydrated. When we wake up in the morning, our first beverage of each day needs to be water. When we're asleep, our body is fasting. All of our major organs are going through their circadian rhythm. The spinal fluid's coming right up our spinal column, doing a power wash on the brain, taking out that metabolic waste, depositing all that metabolic waste in our lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is located between our muscles and our skin. There's a lot of lymph glands here, and in our arms, you can actually feel them. They're little tiny, like bumps.
Yeah.
So our lymphatic system is the trash can of the body. And now we wake up in the morning and it's filled with all this metabolic waste. So we want to help it get rid of the metabolic waste with that water. So we start our day with water, 8 to 10 ounces. It could be warm or room temperature. You can have the juice of half a lemon, juice of half a lime, a pinch of Himalayan pink sea salt, electrolyte drops, whatever you want. Just make sure it's water. And then throughout the day, drink 8 to 10 ounces of water an hour. Set an alarm on your phone. Anybody can do this. I like to say the best place to drink water is when you're in your car running errands. Super easy. It's easy to make sure you're getting that hydration on because you're kind of like, you got nothing else to do but drive and drink your water. So 8 to 10 ounces an hour for 8 to 10 hours a day. And if you start today, it's going to take you 2 weeks to become properly hydrated.
Wow.
Whoa. That is a crazy fact. All right.
Yeah, it is. I knew when you were saying, I've always heard that if you are feeling thirsty, that it's already too late.
Yes.
Right. But I've never heard that it takes 2 weeks to properly hydrate. It's not all that shocking, but it's shocking.
Wow.
So think of like, when you water a garden that's really parched and dry and like the water just goes everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what happens. We're kind of like parched and dry and our body has gotten used to, it's like compensating because we're not fully hydrated. So that's why we drink the water throughout the day so that our organs can use it. All of our organs require water to function.
Almost like a body drought, right? When you talk about seasons, you don't just need one night of rain or one day of rain, you need multiple.
Exactly. But when we get that part right, then we can take it up. So here's tip number 2. If anybody is feeling a little uncomfortable, because let's face it, summer can feel like every night Saturday night, and we're a little off our schedule and we're eating and drinking maybe more than we are at other times, you can take a 10-ounce glass of water 30 minutes before each meal and stir in a teaspoon of ground raw flaxseed. So our Western diet or the standard American diet is very lacking in fiber. So ground raw flaxseed for women is like a superfood. It's giving us fiber. It's giving us those essential fatty acids. It's giving us phytoestrogen, which we want as women. We want to fill those estrogen receptors in our body, which is so good for our skin and, our female functions. And fiber keeps us fuller longer. So a teaspoon of ground raw flaxseed, stir it in, 10 ounces of water, 30 minutes before meals, work your way up to two teaspoons. So you can do that 3 times a day. And that will help you hydrate before you eat. It will give you that all important fiber that helps you stay fuller longer. It will enhance elimination, which is so important for removing toxins from our bodies. And that good fiber also helps to feed the good bacteria in our gut. So it is like a super inexpensive hack that we can use to up our hydration program.
Wow. My mind is blown. Wow.
And I have one more super free tip. Anybody can do this. Okay. So I spend a lot of time in biohacking, in the biohacking space, like with other people who are really fascinated at the thought of how we can live younger, longer, and better. And a lot of what I teach at the Culinary Cure is how to just optimize our daily habits for productivity, for happiness, for overall wellness, and to build that culinary resilience. And one of the things that's actually linked to living longer is flossing our teeth.
Wow.
So after you eat, floss and brush your teeth. It will do a couple of things. You will not continue eating if you've just brushed your brushed and flossed, but it also removes some of this bacteria in our mouths that does not serve us. So by flossing and brushing after meals, it helps us manage a healthy weight, and it helps us build a longevity habit that, and it costs us nothing. Super easy.
Wow. I love that too. So simple. And, you know, I hear from, I have a friend who's a dentist, and I know, I don't think a lot of people think about it, but our oral health is directly related to our physical health.
Mhm.
And that's usually a lot of, you know, people consider going to a dentist a luxury. They put it on the back burner. You know, they don't make it a priority, but it's just as important as everything else we do. Right. So that makes total sense. That makes total sense. So I'm going to start carrying around a toothbrush in my purse.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, I hear from a lot of women, they're just frustrated. It's like that 5 or 10 pounds, and they feel like they're doing everything right. They're exercising, they're trying to eat right. But very often what's overlooked is the hydration and the fiber. And so we just kind of, like I said, I meet people at the intersection of lifestyle and wellness with this sort of practical magic that any of us can incorporate into our lives that helps us up level our game.
Mhm. So would you say also, Kristen, I love these very practical tips that people can definitely take on. I know because hanging out with you and of course being taught by you so many times, watching you present, my water is like my top priority next to sleep. And sometimes it's challenging, right? Like, I mean, like it's like halfway through and I'm just done with my afternoon meeting at 2 and I'm like, wow, I haven't really drank half of my water. And so besides setting the alarm, and I know you spoke about this earlier, that it's not about the doing, but it's the starting, like when someone is really starting out. So what would be a tip or a hack that you have to really just, for example, start with water, you know, like is there a hack besides you know, setting an alarm? Because I actually try to not have too many things going on from my phone, like notifications, alarms, and etc. So what would you say is like a hack to get us drinking more water as a start?
I love this question. And I love herbal teas. So a lot of people struggle because water just, they don't, it's like not exciting, right? It's just not, it's just water, right?
Really?
So I start each day, quite honestly, I do the Tom Brady 24 ounces of water early in the morning. And that really helps me because I know I need that water early on in the day. I know I need to start my day well hydrated. And then I have these glass mugs. You can get them on Amazon. They're these like glass British pub mugs, you know, and they go right in the microwave, and they're about 12 ounces. So I'll fill one of those up, and I have all these herbal teas. And so I'm always sipping an herbal tea. It makes it so much easier. Plus, herbal teas have all kinds of wellness benefits. So if you add, one of my favorites is hibiscus tea. And hibiscus tea is rich in vitamin C. It's super flavorful. It's bright orange, it's bright pinky red. It's got a natural sweetness to it. So by drinking herbal teas, I find people really, you know, can jump on board better because it's just more flavorful. So they enjoy it more. The other thing is always take water with you when you get in your car, and boost your water. So you can actually have a pitcher where you're flavoring your water with lemon or lime, berries, herbs, spices, and you can have this big pitcher, which is going to taste more like a treat than just plain water. But here's something interesting to note about our water. We're all drinking processed water. Our water's been through the municipal processing plant. It's been treated so that there's no dangerous, you know, pathogens in our water, and it's not alive. And we are hardwired to be drinking live water from streams and rivers that's got natural electrolytes and micronutrients and minerals in it. So it really helps us to boost our water. And you can go to my website and look under resources and look in my Amazon store, but I use something called Trace Minerals electrolyte drops. And I add these to my water, and I actually find I drink more water when I'm using my electrolyte drops. It helps the water, it helps us hydrate on an intercellular level better. So think, and really for those of you who have kids, you don't want to be giving your kids Gatorade. Like, just because there's chemicals in food doesn't mean chemicals are food. So if you can get your kids used to drinking water with the juice of half an orange and maybe some electrolyte drops as a sports drink, you can do that for yourself too. And it's just a better way of hydrating. The other thing is eating a plant-rich diet. So plants are water dense. We get more nutrients with those, calories that benefit us, and that helps us too.
Love it.
Wow.
And I would love to share, this is a new hack that I started, and it's working really well, because that is also very in line with what you're sharing, Kristen, is like that first thing you drink is water. Is I now have a bottle of water by my bed. The minute I get up, even like before I go to the bathroom, it's like the reminder is like, I go to the bathroom because I need to pee. Well, I need to pee because I need to drink water. Well, because I have my water here, it's almost like that like whole conversation, but I have a bottle by my bed, and that's the first thing that I do now. And it really works really well. And honestly, if it wasn't for that, I would be drinking like 24 ounces less every single day. And even sometimes, I'm guilty, sometimes I don't drink more than 3 glasses per day, and that is insane. So like, for you to give me that fact of like, if I'm dehydrated and if I don't like hydrate myself for 2 weeks, I'm still dehydrated. So now it's like, I'm always dehydrated. No wonder.
And people need to think of this as a business tool. This is part of your productivity package.
Yes.
So I host on Clubhouse a powerful morning routine every day at 6:55 to 7:10 a.m. And we go through the 4 pillars of a powerful morning routine: hydration, intention, breath, and movement. And we do it all in 15 minutes. And, I teach the hydration and breath part, and I'm like, hello, we cannot live without air and water. Water is considered an essential nutrient. Essential meaning our body can't make it. We need to get it from an external source. And so this is why I say hydration is the low-hanging fruit of wellness. And for women who want to do more and still sleep and manage their stress and have, boundless energy to get through their days and have a body they love that loves them back, it all starts with hydration. So my 21-day detox and reset that's coming up, it's actually, we pushed back the start date to September 20th because we just felt so many people had kids, like Labor Day's late this year. And so many people like have kids starting school, and they just need that week to kind of like catch their breath before they do one more thing. So the detox and reset's so important that I run it 4 times a year. And what I have learned in my many years of coaching women is that we all want to do better, and we want to pick up these new skills that we can turn into daily practices. So we change the way we look and feel and think, and we create this culinary resilience. The hardest part is getting started. And the hardest part with any reset is getting the microbiome right, is getting our gut right. So we've got like 4 pounds of bacteria in our gut. If it's the wrong bacteria, it's sending the wrong signals to the brain. So in 21 days, we detox from the foods that create that dangerous low-level inflammation. And we do it deliciously because I'm a trained chef and I have 200 recipes, and I create new recipes for each of the detoxes that we do. We get rid of what doesn't serve us. We add in things that do serve us. We detox from the dangerous parasites and gut bacteria. And then we reset with the good stuff. So we get rid of cravings, we get rid of belly bloat. It's not a diet, but everybody like loses weight. But the big thing that people love is their skin looks better, their sleep is improved. Once they detox, I'm not gonna lie, the first 5 days, people are like, when does the headache go away? It's like, but then you start to feel so great. And people are just amazed that they can be like getting out of bed and just feeling so like the best version of themselves. So that's my goal at the Culinary Cure. It's to empower women with the tools and the knowledge to create their own best wellness destinies and have the energy and the clear mind and the good sleep and a body they love that loves them back.
Wow.
This is fabulous.
Yes.
And I again, like you continue to blow my mind every single time I hear you speak. So thank you so much for that. So what is your parting remarks for these women, busy women? I know you've shared quite a bit of information already. If you have one last thing to share with the audience, of course, everyone, you should sign up for the 21-day detox. If anything, that will be the start, to start the fall, right? So that way everything is back into rhythm. So for sure, we'll have details of that on our email going out, especially with this presentation for you, Kristen. So what's the last thing you would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, just really understand that everything we do is a practice. And if we can practice it, we can improve it. So we're drinking liquids anyway. Let's drink more water. Everybody can do that. Everybody who's listening to this can drink more water, can hydrate with intention, and understand that that's their starting point for this, developing this culinary resilience and building these superpowers. I'm 62. If I can do these things, anybody can do them. I don't have any superpowers except the ones that I've created for myself. And anybody can do this. It's not expensive, it's not complicated, and it's your starting point.
Oh, so beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Kristen. And continue to do what you do, starting to really impact those women out there. I know how healthy people eat is the book. You can find that. Is it on Amazon now, Kristen?
It's on Amazon, and you can get it at my website, theculinarycure.com. And it's for anybody who has a mouth. So if
I love that.
Yes, you have to love Kristen's sense of humor. Amazing. Thank you so much again for joining us. Such an honor to have you. Thank you so much for your wisdom and your enthusiasm, your energy. And oh my goodness, if you didn't tell us your age, I still forget, even though I know because we have a friendly relationship, but I still forget. So because you're so amazing. Thank you again for being with us. And thank you for all that you do and all that you are. We really appreciate you. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kristen. And it was so nice to meet you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here.